this is a sincere question.
Yeah, yeah,
As somebody who wants everybody to succeed,
yeah.
which is my attitude in life. I mean, if for no other reason, even if I was the most racist, selfish person, because of my
Okay.
selfishness, I would still want people to succeed so that they don't come and bop me on the head and try to take my stuff. So,
Okay.
out of
Yeah.
self-preservation,
Fair
I
enough.
could I could do that. But I sincerely want that for people. What do you think that having being raised by a single mother puts anybody at a disadvantage as compared to having two parents?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you looked at me like quizzically, like what a silly question, and you're right. And the reason that I asked that is because I said that and this is the first experience I ever had with wokeism. I
Okay.
think it was like 2015, 2000, around then,
Okay.
and I told somebody that two parent families yield significantly better results than single parent families do, and I was immediately told, "You're racist." That was my first experience with being called a
Wow.
racist. So, and it's just gotten worse since then in terms of what people construe as racism. But
Hmm.
that's really aside of the point. But I guess that I would need, if I'm looking at differential punishments
Hmm.
for people, and the pre-assumption is that it's based on race, I would want to see what goes in to that concoction, into that mix, and are they single parents? Because unfortunately, in the 1960s, before the whole civil rights movement, blacks were single parents at approximately 24%, something like that,
Mm.
22, 24% if memory serves. And today, unfortunately, it's risen to 72%.
Mm.
And that to me is a travesty. That to me is a tragedy.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
I and because I want children to be raised by two parents. It's hard enough with my kids if I have them alone and I have to watch them. It's hard enough for me to stay
Yeah.
sane. I don't know how single parents do it. I
No,
truly don't. And
I
those who
think we
raise
totally
single
agree on
kids,
that. Anyone who says that, yeah, anyone who has kids knows. I don't know how a single parent even does it with raising kids, working, and then being able to stay sane themselves. It's absolutely amazing. I have nothing but respect for single parents.
yeah. So I guess the question is you know why are so many black youth being raised
Hmm.
by single parents? Because I think I mentioned it's 72% today
Uh huh.
that are, which is a figure that doesn't portend well for their future,
Sure.
being raised by a single parent, no matter who you are.
Right. Yeah. And I wish I had an answer to that because yeah, if we knew them, maybe we could do
Is it,
something about it.
you see, is it possible that when the government encourages the mother, and this is a conservative talking point,
Uh
but
huh.
when the government encourages the mother to gain welfare and marry the state as a single parent, that she has the less incentive to stay married to the father, to stay in accord with the father.
Hmm. Hard to say. Yeah. I guess
Okay,
that.
because that is definitely,
Mhm.
to me, that is definitely a valid theory. Obviously, that's why I'm proposing it,
Mm.
and it does explain the rise since that took place. Because I don't know what else it is. I don't think that black people are any smarter or stupider than the average white person. I think I've met tons of my black friends are really great guys and super smart. Some of them are, they're all over the bell curve.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've got smart white friends, dumb white friends, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. But there has to be something, and I just wonder whether it's the continued government interventions that are creating this disparity.
Yeah. I guess I'm curious then, like, because I assume the money's just as green for white, black, or any other race who is on welfare. Why would that create a disparity between, just black families?
Yeah, and it's a very fair question. I think that it comes down to the culture, but the black culture and the church used to keep them together, from what I understand.
Hmm.
All of my friends who are black, who I love, who are really good guys, all of them I played basketball with.
Hmm.
Um, that's where you find a lot of black guys, right? Uh, It's a joke. But they're all members of a church, or they grew up in
Uh
the
huh.
church, and it guides them. And my friend Kevin, he would tell me he's 6'5", good basketball player. He was like, "Man, Rich, without the church, I'd have been a thug."
Hmm.
That's what he tells me.
Yeah.
So I look at that, and then I take a look at how they're trying. And again, this goes back to the woke, how they're trying to dissolve the church or lessen the grasp of the church. And it's something that a Soviet tactic actually is to dissolve
Hmm.
the the pillars of the community. And I really wonder whether or not that this is the leftists are actively undermining the black community, that they're saying that they want to support, like Black Lives Matter. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. They had on their original website that they wanted to disrupt the nuclear family.
Hmm.
And as we're talking, they took it off the website because they got a lot of blowback from it. But
I
knowing
imagine.
that this is the underlying, you know, premise, that this is the underlying intention of the group to disrupt the nuclear family. And so they're the wokest of the woke, those who are supporting Black Lives Matter, unwittingly, like, supporting the dissolution of the nuclear family.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it definitely bears thinking about, like, attacking the church. I know in prep we talked a little bit. Obviously, I identify as a Christian, and so that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely, um, at least within these culture wars, if we can call them that, a concerning thing for me that the church just seems to get bandied about as, oh, we can get votes or we can get money from the church. And I think the evangelical church has done a lot to shoot itself in its own foot in regards to this, and has given up a lot of its own autonomy, I guess, or in terms of compromising with whatever cause an individual church or an organization of churches feels is most expedient at the time. And it's really compromised the message that we try to send as Christians.
I didn't grow up religious, and I have great newfound over the last several years respect for religion as a unifying force.
Mm-hmm.
Mankind has historically, we're just been guerrillas at war with one another, and the message of Christianity is one of peace and love. Now, it's very hard as human beings because we're all flawed to be able to
Mm-hmm.
maintain,
Oh yeah.
the way of Christ. But it certainly puts it certainly makes for a moral person to be able to grow up in that environment. And I've been considering putting our kids into church
Mm-hmm.
just for that, just so that they have a taste of that, because I think it's good for them and then it's good for society. But when you tear down the pillars of the community, then all of a sudden you get like what's happening in Portland
Mm-hmm.
today, where the city is just being destroyed and anybody with any money is moving from it. Or like I left Los Angeles and I understand that it's way worse now than when I
Mm-hmm.
left. So, I just wonder whether or not it's being done intentionally.